For the last 70 years, an incredible and honestly pretty unlikely friendship has been growing in the heart of northern Italy. It's this amazing story about soldiers and citizens, about a shared history and a really promising shared future, all happening in one beautiful Italian city. Let's get into what makes this relationship so unique. But first, just imagine this for a second. Picture yourself strolling through a historic Italian piazza. You're surrounded by all this incredible Renaissance architecture. But 1 out of every 10 people you pass is American. What would a city like that even feel like? Well, that city is real. It's Vicenza, Italy. It's a city of about 110,000 people, and it's also home to 12,000 Americans, most of whom are service members and their families. And we're not just talking about a military base here. This is a deeply integrated community, unlike anywhere else. So how on earth did this happen? To really get this story, you have to meet our guide, Colonel Scott Horrigan. As the former garrison commander for the U.S. Army in Vicenza, he was basically the mayor of the American community. I mean, he was responsible for everything. His personal journey really gives us this incredible window into what makes this place so special. So Colonel Horrigan is a career infantry officer, a guy from the Midwest. And like a lot of soldiers from his generation, his whole career was shaped by the post-9/11 world. He served in legendary units like the 10th Mountain Division and spent years on these constant rotations in and out of Afghanistan and Iraq. And this quote from him, wow, it just perfectly captures the kind of sacrifice that was being made back then. And that's not an exaggeration. It was just the reality for so many people in the military. It was this relentless pace, a world away from the kind of life he was about to find in Italy. Which brings us to this. Can you imagine going from that constant stress of deployment to this feeling like you've literally just won the lottery? For American service members, getting an assignment in Italy is the absolute #1 choice. It's a chance to soak in this rich culture, and for Colonel Horrigan, yeah, it was the opportunity of a lifetime.
Okay, so why is the U.S. Army even in Vicenza in the first place? Right. This is not some new thing. The American presence here goes back 70 years, and its mission has totally evolved as the world has changed.
The whole story kicks off way back in 1955, right in the thick of the Cold War. The U.S. Army's Southern European Task Force, or SATF, was set up to protect NATO's southern flank. But, as the world changed, the mission had to change too. After the Berlin Wall came down, the focus started to shift. Fast forward to 2008, and it's officially renamed SATF Africa, expanding its whole focus to deal with modern challenges like instability and terrorism, working super closely with both European and African partners. So this shift is really the crucial point here. What started as this Cold War shield has now morphed into this modern, flexible force that's tackling these incredibly complex issues across 2 continents. But the real story, the one we're here to talk about, isn't just about military strategy. It's about what was happening on the ground, inside the community itself. Okay, this is the real heart of the Vicenza story. It's all about this deliberate choice to break down walls, and I mean that both literally and figuratively, and to build one single community out of 2 totally different cultures. This right here was Colonel Horrigan's guiding light as commander. The idea was never to create some isolated American bubble. No, the goal was to build a community where absolutely everything from kids' sports leagues to bank accounts just flowed back and forth, creating a truly shared everyday life. So how do you actually make a vision like that happen? Well, you create a program for it. The Community Alliance Plan is pretty much the engine that drives this whole integration. It's a really simple but honestly a brilliant idea. Just directly connect American military units with their Italian host towns. And here's how it works on the ground. A U.S. commander partners up with a local Italian mayor. They work together to make sure American families are invited to the local sagras, the famous food festivals, and all the other town events. And what you get is this genuine shared experience, where an Italian kid can actually be proud of the American presence, and an American soldier feels truly welcomed into the Italian way of life. So what does all of this mean for the future? I mean, geopolitical missions are always going to change, right? But what's been built in Vicenza over the last 70 years? That feels like something much more permanent. This is the key takeaway. Just like Colonel Horrigan says, the U.S. Army is not leaving Italy. The friendship is just way too strong now, built on decades of shared interests, shared heritage, and just real mutual respect. The specific threats might change, but that presence, that's going to remain.
But if you needed one last piece of proof, one final, undeniable sign of just how deep this connection goes, what would it be?
It's this right here. American service members, when they finish their careers, they don't just pack up and go home. A lot of them choose to retire right there in Vicenza. They buy a house, they build a life, because they've just fallen in love with Italy. And that, as the Colonel points out, is so unique. You just don't see that happening in other places where the U.S. Army is based. It's really the ultimate proof of a friendship that turned a military post into a forever home.